Time management for college students. What is time management and why is it so important? Time management involves balancing all the activities in which a person participates within the confines of the week. Today's college students are more than just students. They are also athletes, parents, employees, heads of households, and volunteers, just to name a few. Balancing home, school, work, and everyday life can be a real juggling act. Successful time management allows students to use time more efficiently to prepare for classes, study, and remember information. These are 3 key habits that foster learning and college success. Time management can also reduce stress, as students plan ahead and allot time appropriately to different tasks. Good time management promotes greater self-confidence as students experience success coping with the many demands of their time. There are several ways for students to manage their time and be successful in every aspect of their lives. However, there are several common time management mistakes that hinder our abilities to effectively manage our time. I will discuss 10 of the most common time management mistakes, as well as identify strategies and tips that you can use to overcome them. The first is failing to keep a to-do list.
Hi, I'm Gina Trapani, and this is Work Smart. Today we're going to cover how to write a to-do list that actually gets done. A to-do list is a fundamental tool for getting things done. It helps you plan your day and see what you've accomplished and what you should work on next. But a badly written to-do list can actually sabotage your productivity instead of boost it. Let's face it, the best part of using a to-do list is checking items off as done, finished, complete. Some items are easier to check off than others, so the goal is to make your to-do list as doable as possible. First, know the difference between a task, a goal, and a project. A project is a big undertaking that involves lots of tasks. A goal is something you want to achieve through tasks and repetitive actions. So, clean out the garage, save $5,000, learn French. These are projects and goals, not tasks, so they don't go on your to-do list. Reserve your to-do list for next actions that move a project along. So your goal to save $5,000, that starts with a simple, single next step. Second, break down your to-dos into small, manageable bites. Don't put write 50-page report on your to-do list. Break it down to something smaller, more doable, like brainstorm 5 ideas for the report. Finally, your to-do list should be a fluid document that changes every day. Still, we've all got tasks that have hung around our list for weeks or months or a year. Every once in a while, purge all that old stuff and do an honest audit. Why is it hung around so long? Can you break it down into something that's less procrastination worthy? Do you need to do it at all? Be honest and clear it out. The most popular tool for keeping track of your to-do list is still pen and paper, but there are some fantastic computer-based tools too. RememberTheMilk.com is a website that lets you track your tasks from any browser or your phone, from work or from home. Things is an iPhone app that helps you track your to-dos on the go. If your tasks are often associated with email, try Gmail's task list or Outlook's built-in task list. Whatever tool you do decide to use, remember that the tasks you put on it should be small, manageable, and specific to increase their chances of getting done.
The next common mistake is not setting personal goals. Personal goal setting is essential to managing your time well because goals give you a destination and a vision to work toward. When you know where you want to go, you can manage your priorities, time, and resources to get there. Goals also help you decide what's worth spending your time on and what is just a distraction. Not prioritizing is another barrier to effective time management. Sometimes it's hard to know how to prioritize, especially when you're facing a flood of seemingly urgent tasks. However, it is essential to learn how to prioritize tasks effectively if you want to manage your time better. Next is failing to manage distractions. Do you know that some of us can lose as much as 2 hours a day to distractions? Think of how much you could get done if you had that time back. Whether they come from text messages, notifications, emails, friends, family members, etc., Distractions prevent us from achieving flow, which is that satisfying and seemingly effortless work that we do when we're 100% engaged in a task. If you want to gain control of your day and do your best work, it's vital to know how to minimize distractions and manage interruptions effectively. For instance, turn off your notifications or put your phone in the other room when you need to focus, and let people know if they're distracting you too often. Next is procrastination. Procrastination occurs when you put off tasks that you should be focusing on right now. When you procrastinate, you feel guilty that you haven't started. You come to dread doing the task, and eventually everything catches up with you when you fail to complete the work on time. For instance, one useful strategy is to tell yourself that you're only going to start on a project for 10 minutes. Often, procrastinators feel that they have to complete a task from start to finish, and this high expectation makes them feel overwhelmed and anxious. Instead, focus on devoting a small amount of time to starting. That's all. You might also find it helpful to use action plans. These help you break large projects down into manageable steps so that it's easy to see everything that you need to get done, and so that you can complete small chunks at a time. Doing this can stop you from feeling overwhelmed at the start of a new project or assignment. Taking on too much is another common time management mistake. Are you a person who has a hard time saying no to people? If so, you probably have far too many projects and commitments on your plate. This can lead to poor performance, stress, and low morale. If you're a student who is attending school, working, and handling numerous other responsibilities, that doesn't leave much time in your day. It's important to be honest with yourself regarding the amount of tasks that you can handle. Have you ever heard someone say, "I thrive on being busy"? Some people actually get a rush from being busy. The narrowly met deadlines, the endless emails, the piles of assignments needing attention, the frantic race to class or work. What an adrenaline buzz. The problem is that an addiction to busyness rarely means that you're effective, and it can lead to stress. Instead, try and slow down and learn to manage your time better. To get on top of her workload, Linda regularly writes emails and/or papers while she chats on the phone with her friends and checks her friends' status on Facebook. However, while Linda thinks that this is a good use of her time, the truth is that it can take 20 to 40% more time to finish a list of jobs when you multitask, compared with completing the same list of tasks in sequence. The result is also that she does both tasks poorly. Her assignments are full of errors, and her friends and teachers are frustrated by her lack of concentration. So the best thing is to forget about multitasking and instead focus on one task at a time. That way you'll produce higher quality work. Another common mistake is not taking breaks. It's nice to think that you can work for 8 to 10 hours straight, especially when you're working on a deadline, but it's impossible for anyone to focus and produce really high quality work without giving their brains some time to rest and recharge. So don't dismiss breaks as wasting time. They provide valuable downtime which will enable you to think creatively and work effectively. If it's hard for you to stop working, then schedule breaks for yourself or set an alarm as a reminder. Go for a quick walk, grab a cup of coffee, or just sit and meditate at your desk. Try to take a 5-minute break every hour or two, and make sure that you give yourself ample time for lunch. You won't produce top quality work if you're hungry. Lastly, ineffectively scheduling tasks is another time management mistake. Are you a morning person? Or do you find your energy picking up once the sun begins to set in the evening? All of us have different rhythms, that is, different times of day when we feel most productive and energetic. You can make best use of your time by scheduling high-value work during your peak time and low-energy work, like returning phone calls or checking email, during your downtime. Some additional tips for time management include self-monitoring. Know where your time goes. Reflect on your use of time. By creating a daily activity log, you can actually see what activities you are engaging in on a daily basis and how much time those activities take. You can use a master schedule such as the one shown here, and don't forget to include all of the activities in the list. You can also use a daily schedule, or a weekly schedule, or even a term schedule. Once you realize where all your time is going, you need to start setting goals and prioritizing. Setting goals involves determining exactly what you want to accomplish. Again, this may be what you want to accomplish in a day, a week, a semester, or even longer. By setting goals, you will be more inclined to follow through with them and accomplish your tasks. Prioritizing. Once you know what needs to be accomplished, you must prioritize your tasks. This means figuring out which tasks are most important and which ones can be put on hold. Be sure to stay focused on the most important task before you move on to the next one. Additional time management tips for distance learning. Distance learning appeals to many students because it offers the flexibility to work on class assignments and study material on their own hours. Yet, with those perks come new challenges. Because you won't have a structured schedule or a class in which to ask your professor and classmates questions, you'll need strong time management skills to keep track of your studying and meet your deadlines. Distance learners have to carve out a space for studying and completing classwork. Classroom students have the luxury of an in-person meeting where questions are answered and exercises are completed. But distance learners have to make time for exercises, assignments, and review, and have to contact the instructor with questions and concerns. This study space should not double as an eating space, sleeping space, or recreational space, because you may be tempted to do those things rather than study. A private room where you can separate yourself from the rest of your home is ideal, but a corner designated for studying, writing, reading, and completing assignments can also work. A distance learner uses online portals to keep track of assignments, due dates, and materials. Unlike typical college students, you won't have a professor reminding you that a paper is due next week or offering time after class for questions at all times. A large paper calendar on your desk will allow you to stay appraised of your deadlines and test dates. It can be tempting while working on your own to save assignments for the last minute. Keeping a schedule encourages you to work on assignments over time and avoid losing sleep or stressing out over a paper that's due or an exam that you know about well in advance. Treat studying like a job. It can be tempting to calculate only the amount of time you have to spend actually clocking into your online class or working on assignments and leave out the hours that it will take to study and learn the material. Avoid filling your schedule with other activities because of the freedom and the flexibility of online classes. This can overload you and can cause you to fall behind. Treat it like a job and decide to dedicate 8 hours per day or whatever is necessary to your studies. And don't use those hours for anything else. That way you won't run the risk of overextending yourself and receiving poor grades. Check in daily. In addition to knowing your rhythm, when you work best, whether it's during the day or at night, it's important to check into your class daily, if possible. Turning school into a daily activity makes it less overwhelming, and it prevents students from getting caught off guard by new announcements or any changes. A student recently shared with me that getting into a rhythm of checking in daily helped keep me on schedule and, most importantly, helped me fight my urge to procrastinate. Time management is a process, one that takes effort and motivation. The endless responsibilities and to-dos that encompass your day can be quite overwhelming. It's important to know that you have control over your actions and behaviors, and you have the ability to effectively schedule your time and manage your priorities. Take control of your time. I hope that you have found the information and tips in this video helpful, And I leave you with one last quote. Time management is really a misnomer. The challenge is not to manage time, but manage ourselves. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities.